Welcome to the CHYE in partnership with COL Live K-Factor podcast with your host, Rabbi Yehoshua Wordy, director of CHYE. Each week we bring you interviews with amazing Jewish entrepreneurs sharing their challenges and successes. Their stories will inspire you to make the Keli to take your business aspirations to the next level. Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting week of the K-Factor podcast with your host, Rabbi Wordy. This week I have the pleasure to be sitting with a true Crown Heights entrepreneur. Earlier this year, CHY did our first CHY business event for the community of Dovrei Ivrit. You know, Baruch Hashem, in Crown Heights, we have hundreds, maybe even thousands of Lubavitchers that come here from Eretz Yisrael, and the Eretz Yisrael are the real hustlers. They come here, they don't know the language, they don't have the community support, they don't have the family support, and if they're going to make, they have no choice. They got to make it happen. And Baruch Hashem, we really have hundreds of young Lubavitch, Eretz Yisrael people that are entrepreneurs, and they're making it happen. And today, I am sitting with one of those entrepreneurs, and I'm sure many of you people already know him. And this is Yosef Sidof, the owner of Shakuff. Yossi, welcome to the K-Factor podcast.
Thank you for having me here.
But we're honored that you could take from your time to be here with us, and I'm sure that our audience is going to enjoy hearing your story. Yossi is somebody who has a very unique business, and it's something that it's very creative, and it's very custom, and it's very, very avant-garde, and I'm sure people will enjoy hearing how all of this came about. So take us, the style of the K-Factor podcast is we like to go back in time. So take us to the Yemei Bereshis. You were finishing yeshiva or kollel, whatever stage. How did you get into business before even Shakuff? How did your business life start?
So for me, going to business is being always entrepreneurial and doing a lot of different things as a child. Different idea in yeshiva already from young age. Yeah. Supporting myself, I had to just buying and selling. I used to do haircut in yeshiva for over 3 years, which was a very success business too. Mm-hmm. And I made it 3 times to buy tickets as 14 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old to come here to New York. And at the most case, I support my full tickets and come here. And
I want to say, by the way, I don't know if many people realize that. I mean, when you have these hundreds and thousands of Bachrim that come here for Tishrei, most of those Bachrim have to, they have to work and they have to raise that money to be able to come here. And some people really, like yourself, really hustle every penny to be able to come here. And kol hakavod.
Yeah, and that time it was not so simple to do that. It was not that many people as coming as of now. So making a ticket and making $800, that was still.
What years did you come?
The first year I came here in 94.
So you were here, it was before Gimel Tammuz?
I was here before Gimel Tammuz. I came here for Tishrei, the last Tishrei, seeing the Rebbe. I was lucky to be here.
Oh, Baruch Hashem. Yeah. Yes, I was here as well. That Tishrei was very chayas.
Yeah, a lot of memories.
Right.
At this time.
So you're hustling. You're doing things in yeshiva. And what was the next step?
So when I finish Shiur Base and Yeshiva Gedola, I left Israel and I came here. I came to Crown Heights. I came to stay with some colleague of my yeshiva here. And to stay here, I did continue a little bit of the yeshiva time. And then I started to finding some jobs and looking for opportunity to support myself, to live here and be able to pay all the bills. And so I.
What was your first? What did you do first?
So I work. I had different small jobs, but one of the main jobs that I started working here, I was a driver here in Crown Heights. I used to work for Rabbi Katz. Used to have a clothing store in Kingston Avenue.
Right.
So I used to be driving his van and do deliveries all over New York for over 2 years. And that's how I got to know New York in a different angle. Driving to the city, driving to all over Brooklyn, going to Bronx, sometime upstate, New Jersey. And I did it for over 2 years. And after the 2 years, I moved to a second job, which was upgrading from being a van driver to a truck driver. So I used to work for another barber here in Brooklyn. He used to have a warehouse of electronic. I used to work for him. I used to drive his truck for also over 2 years, and did also electronic delivery.
So there you are. You're doing this delivery, and this is a lot of hard labor, driving many hours. So at what point did you say that's it, and move on to your next venture?
So I think in the one of the season, I think, was the winter time. It was getting, I really enjoyed doing what I did as a driving, and having fun and being in different places, with the trucks, and I tried to make it as fun as possible. The winter really got me, and I felt very cold and felt driving in a big trucks. It was getting me too much. I said, you get to a point that you have to do something different a little bit. So at that time, my older brother, that also lived here in Crown Heights for many, many years, he had a retail stores in New Jersey, and he offered me a job to work with him. And I said that would be a great opportunity just to move and leave my job and work with him and his stores.
What type of product?
So we used to have stores that sell different products for beachwear, T-shirts, and some custom jewelry, and souvenirs. So we used to work for him. It was more a season job.
Right.
So I used to manage his stores and work with them together, and got to know a lot of different side of business. So that was like a different experience.
Right. So this is building up. First you drove the trucks, then you worked at retail stores. What happens next?
So the way how the business was, it was as I told you, it's a season
Right.
work. So in the summertime, you work for very hard. You work for many hours. You're starting at 8 o'clock. You finish at 12 o'clock at night. And then when the season is over, when summertime is over, you're back to the winter.
Right.
So a lot of the type of people that do that kind of business, they're opening stores, or they have other stores in Florida. So they continue to do the same thing, just in another
Right.
state, which Florida would be a perfect place for that.
Right.
But for us, we had to always come back to Brooklyn to be in Crown Heights. And my brother at that time was also bringing custom jewelry to his retail store. So slowly over time, he started opening wholesaler company to sell his jewelry, his custom jewelry.
He made his own brand.
He's making his own brand, and he started also from scratch. And as me working with him in the summertime, I said we should, continue to work in the winter time.
Right.
So in the winter time, I begin to work for him as well, and begin to do sales. So I started selling his custom jewelry and going to different places in New York, going to shopping malls, selling all the custom jewelry. And a year later, my brother decided that he want to close all his retail stores because it was too season stores. And he decided that he want to go his wholesaler account. And I left with them, and I stay with them, and I continue to do sales, and I continue to grow his business together with sales and the product of the custom jewelry. That time I was about 20, I will say I started at 22 years old. By the time I was 24, I got engaged. And
To the very famous wife that you have.
yes,
Yosef Sidof, the director of the Lamplighters Yeshiva.
thank you. So I met my wife, and my brother actually made a shidduch there. And I continued to work as, selling jewelry. And again, the way how we used to sell the jewelry, that I used to go to a lot of places here and the winter. And then when I get to the summertime, I used to drive all the way from New York to Florida with cars full of jewelries to sell to all the stores that we ourselves used to have, but getting all the way to Florida. So that was the routine that I used to do. The selling wintertime, I used to sell more in New York, going to a lot of shopping malls. And then over the summer times, I used to drive from here all the way to Florida. As life getting, when you're getting married, there's a different responsibility that you have, and you have a responsibility for your wife and for home and being at home. So travel begin a challenge for me. Leaving the house for a couple of days was okay, but then, and that type of job, sometimes I used to go for 2 weeks. And a little bit, a couple months after we got married, I started trying to think about different idea that I can stop doing what I'm doing. But at the same time, I felt like I have a very good parnasa right now. I'm making great money. And I have to decide that I'm going to do something. If I'm going to do something, how will I'm going to support it? So it was a beautiful ashgacha prati that happened to me, that one day I sat in my house and I opened Israeli newspaper, Yediot Achronot. And the end of the newspaper, they had a Yediot Achronot for America section. That's the news in America, the news in New York, Los Angeles. Right. And I saw a small article about few companies and a few people that are looking for some company in the state to represent their company. Some for a very small article, there's one name that stick to me was about an artist from Israel that looking for a company that can represent his color glass that he have and can just sell it to America. So it was very short statement.
And you said colored glass.
It said an artist from Israel that make a color glass looking for representative in the United States. And he had phone numbers and a website. So I right away went to his website, and the moment that I opened his website, I saw beautiful color glass that it was something that I never saw before. It was a beautiful design of textures of stained glass and beautiful color sinks that really caught my eyes.
And this is for windows, or there were other functions?
This is for sort of stained glass and just beautiful glass. It's a little bit of pictures. It was 2 pictures of sink, like countertop sinks and a stained glass. Right. So I got the numbers. I call him up. I say, hi, my name is Yossi. I live in New York. I heard you this. I heard your article. I want to know more information. He's like, yeah, I put it a few months ago, but I don't know how the newspaper got my contact. Actually, that was like a few months ago that somebody came to me and he said if there's anything that he can help me, and I asked him to post something, but that was a few months ago. But right now you're calling me, it's not a good time. I'm the north of Israel. There's Lebanon war that happening that time. Yeah. And I can't really talk right now. I don't have my mind here. My business is not really doing well, and I'm actually leaving my studio in the north. I'm actually going to Eilat. Call me later. So I call him up a week later. He said it's not a good time. I call him up 2 weeks later. I said it is a good time to talk. He said not now, maybe in another week. I call him up in the 3rd week. And then he said, wow, I'm surprised. You don't even know who I am. And you call me a few times and you don't give up.
Right, and what was it? But I'm just out of curiosity.
And every other day, I believe, I went to his website and I just fell in love with what I saw. And I said, I just want to see it. I want to talk to him, and I want to see what he have and what he's offering. Right. So on that conversation...
You have something in your background with art? Like, so what do you think it was that attracted you? Was it similar to the jewelry you were selling?
So it's definitely something that I developed with custom jewelry. As I used to do jewelry, I used to be out in the field, and I used to talk to people, and I used to get to hear what they want, what kind of jewelry they need, go back to my barber company, tell them what kind of stone they should get, what color, what kind of different design that should change, because that's what people want. And just talking to people, you hear what what's the need is,
Right.
what they want, what they're looking for.
Right.
So I believe I really started to develop my color, my test into the jewelry. And there was something always about me looking for that it's something that's different, maybe unusual, definitely customized, and colorful. That was my thing that I really love, and I'm still love. And I believe that was my passion that I fell into. So he said to me, well, I'm very unique what I do, and I'm right now doing stained glass. This is my thing. I have a very unique way of doing the stained glass that nobody does. Took me 2 years to develop few color that it's belong to my creation that I'm creating. And I'm selling stained glass. So if you have any interest in stained glass, we can work, or we can maybe talk about how can we do more thing together. So I said, what about maybe you should send me sample. I want to see the glass. So we decided on the design that he's gonna send me. I remember sending him money, sending crate from Israel back to here, pack it very well. I got a big shipping. I opened the shipping and I was like, wherever I saw in the pictures, that's nothing that I really saw when I saw the glass. That was a unique, beautiful color, textures, rich glass that I saw from the artist. So the first thing that I approach is what I'm going to do with this glass. Now, stained glass is something that shuls were going to use.
Right.
So being in the community, being in Kronites, being some people, I said the first thing I should go is to shluchim. And I went to somebody that work with shluchim a lot. He's himself a shliach too, but he's also have some work and business related to other shluchim. And I asked him if he can help me to give me some contact of some shluchim that are building some synagogue or something that they have. And he started giving me some names, and I start calling people, and I start calling some different shluchim and see if they like to use a beautiful Israeli artist, stained glass, that they can do the work. I drove to some places, I flew to 2 places, and I started reaching out to beginning of shluchim, and then slowly by slowly I started going to different shuls in Firetown, in Brooklyn, in New York, in the city, New Jersey, and different places that I can just approach the stained glass. So as I started going to the stained glass, I started to realize that it's not something that can come something very quick. Right. Because when you're dealing with shuls, right, you're not dealing with one person. You're dealing with board and people. Right. You're dealing with someone that donate the money. You're dealing with a lot of voice and a lot of opinion. Right. So a lot of time I saw the money and I saw the potential, but then I realized that to get the money takes way much longer to what should takes, and I just need to have more patience. Right. And it was a little bit challenged because it wasn't coming. It was a lot of opinion on almost every decision, which is fine, but it just to begin business like that, it was not easy. Right. So I started to get some few jobs, and it was a small jobs, and slowly by slowly I started to phase from my jewelry with my brother, with the business of the custom jewelry, and more I got to going to more places and trying to open doors and talk to people. And I realized that I have to start choosing whether I'm really going to do the stained glass business, the glass business, or I'm going to stick to the jewelry. So I decided that this is something that I actually passion on, something that I really want to do and try. And I decided that this should that's what I should right now, put my energy. Of course, my wife gave me a lot of support doing it, gave me the encourage to do that, gave me the push to do it. And I started really pushing myself. And as I'm start going to people, I started to get in touch with interior designers and with architects. And people start asking me questions about the stained glass, but then what can you do something else? I might not need the stained glass, but then the same times I'm talking to people that can use it, but not really for stained glass. So I started develop sync with the glass, and I used to show people how the glass look like with a reflection of light. Mm-hmm. So I used to either put lights or show it next to a daylight. And people used to say, can you maybe make a pictures out of it? I said, well, yeah, I mean, it's custom, it's glass. let me try. Let me talk to my artist. So I called my artist. I said, can you make me a light box with this? He's like, sure, yeah, we can put wire. We can do a light box. We can do fixtures. So I said, okay, great. So I approached back and start to offering as a light solution if I cannot really sell stained glass. So slowly by slowly, I started really getting into more lighting, and I started to get more orders into the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started talking to people and people ask me about the lighting, they say, well, can you make not just this glass, can you make it a different size? I say, yeah, it's custom. So really, can you customize? I was like, yeah, it's full custom. So they said, wow, can you make me a chandelier for my entryway or for the entry of a synagogue? Yeah, sure. So I'm still selling it, and then I realized there's a really need, and there's something here about lighting and custom that it's not really exist.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time I'm saying that I can do it, I get a response that it's a very surprise.
Right.
So I said, yeah, I'm going to do custom lighting.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started to approach a different way that said our product, it's a custom fixtures. And we start to have a light fixtures and custom lighting. So that's how I really started to shift from being a stained glass into lighting, which was getting to, or started as a custom fixtures, custom lighting.
That's great. So it's always listen to what your people are telling you, follow where their interest is and build on that. Let me stop for a second. So you named your company is called Shakuff. Tell us a little bit of what's the meaning behind that.
So when it comes to names, I like my wife advice all the time. She's great with names. With other things, of course, but I really get her opinion on names. And we sat together, and I said I like to have something with glass. It's fine glass, fine art glass, something artistic. And then she said, well, what do you do with the glass? It's very transparent, and it's very clear. And start playing in names and playing an idea, and came up with Shakuff. And she said, what about Shakuff? So I said, wow, let's spell it. So we start spelling the word Shakuff, and it was actually we start doing Shakuff, and then we add another F, and we make it sound like, it's Shakuff. So first of all, Shakuff in Hebrew, it's transparent.
Mm-hmm.
But if you talk about the slang of Shakuff, it's clear, and it's obvious. When you say to somebody, oh, this is Shakuff, yeah, Baruch, it's a Shakuff, it's mean like it's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious, like social clear.
So it's a popular used word in Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah, when you use the word when you want to use it as a slang, when you want to choose a color, you say whether it's Shakuff, whether it's clear, so it's
right.
called Shakuff. But when you want to use it as a slang, you will say, oh, it's Shakuff. I mean, it's obvious.
Right.
And we was thinking about having that name to say, well, if you think about design or if you think about custom lighting, so it's obvious, Shakuff.
Shakuff is the choice.
Yes.
Okay, see?
That's the names.
Very nice. Has a very nice ring to it, though. It's like a very sophisticated, if in America, when people hear it, it just has a very artsy, it's artsy, that, even though it's a Hebrew name, but it has like a certain nice art element from the American side of things. Okay, so here you are. You pivoted to this, to doing custom lighting, and tell us any challenges maybe that came along the way. What were some challenges that you faced as you were trying to grow your business?
When you start a business, things look a little bit smoother. So when I diversified the business to lighting and custom lighting, I started doing it myself, and I started really having an office, talking to people, talking to architects, talking to interior designers. That's a place that I still work in Crown Heights, and then I moved to another office. And I have to say that I met another great person from Crown Heights, Lubavitcher, amazing guy that saw what I did and really believed in what I did. And on a few conversations, they said, well, maybe should work with my son. And, he's somebody that can add to the business, and both of you can work and grow the business. And we really start invest in the business, and we invest together. We partner together, and we took the business to a different place that it used to be from an office. We opened a beautiful showroom in the city. It was about 1,200 square feet. We put all the lighting in the city, and we was two people selling and reaching out to individual to the architect and the interior designers. You're thinking that you're gonna have everything together. You're gonna have a store. You're gonna have a place, and maybe people will come to you, and you're gonna do some steps. You're gonna do some advertise, but then it doesn't happen. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen. You get everything that you can dream, and then you're putting all the money, but then it's not really happening. It's not start to kick, meaning people not start buying from you. At the same time, you have to support yourself. We both had to support family, young family. We both got married. I had a child. He was just getting married. It began very, very tough. We had to pay rent. Manhattan was not cheap.
Right.
And we couldn't survive. And he couldn't survive. I couldn't survive. We couldn't make it. We couldn't pay the bill. And we decided that we're going to close the business. Everybody going to go to a different place. And then I had a choice. Either I'm looking for something else because I try, and for me it was a peak because I started small, and then I really push and invest, and I had someone to help me, and we both invest and work for over a year and a half together. And either I'm going to close the business and then try something else, or maybe there's still another opportunity or something else that I didn't do that I can maybe do it.
Right.
So I shrink myself back again to my house because I couldn't even afford an office at that point. And I went back to my, at that time I had a small garage, and I went back to my downstairs garage, and I started to have the same phone numbers, Manhattan phone numbers that I still have now. It's the main number. And calling people and introducing again the company, but not from the city, actually from Brooklyn. But nobody really knew where I am. And then I start going to people, and I'm presenting the company again, and I said that I don't have showroom right now, but if you specify anything, I will have to get involved. I do custom lighting. So I start slowly by slowly push myself, realize that there's a very big challenge right now, but at the same time, there's a lot of bitachon that you have to have, and a lot of, there's a faith that you have to take. And to say that I went so far for 4 years, I did so much, it is really the time to right now close. Maybe I didn't do enough yet. So let me push more. And if I push more, maybe it will not work. But, at least I know I really try everything. So I took
let me interrupt you for 1 second. Why do you think it is that when you went so big and you did all that, what do you think was missing that it didn't take off at that time?
It was 2009, 2010. Economy was, going down. Commercial. The time where we approached to go to the commercial business was people closing down. Commercial was not really continuing. A lot of jobs was stopped. And I said that maybe I went too far to go to the commercial. Maybe I should pause a little bit and then go to maybe retail stores or maybe to residential, maybe to people that just building house. Not to just think about people that building and specify for big hotels, big restaurant, go small. Go to people that maybe just build a house and they need a chandelier. And that's something that I didn't try before. And I said, that's maybe a good opportunity. Right now, everything is closed. I'm still have my house rent. It's a garage. I'll work from there. And I started doing it. So that's what I really start pushing myself harder. And I think once I start pushing myself harder on my own, on myself, things start to be open. And what happened is I add another artist from Israel that does blown glass, beautiful art glass, blown glass. And I introduce his glass to retailer stores. and I was a one-man operation. So working from the garage, doing custom lighting. I started to work with artists from Israel, do the blown glass, and another one that do the fused glass, the first glass that I made. Then I started to shift. Instead of buying everything from one place from Israel, I started to buy more product from here, from the state, from Brooklyn. So I started buying more metal, more LED driver, LED transformer, and I was really interacting with the customers from the beginning till the end.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times I was doing everything that the customer didn't know that that's me.
Mm-hmm.
They thought it's a big company, or maybe they knew it is a company, but I was the person that's selling it. I was the delivery man.
Mm-hmm.
I was the customer service.
Mm-hmm.
And when I remember I came one time to delivery, I was like, I had to show myself like I'm not the owner of the company. I'm here. I have a delivery from you from Shakuff. Just put it there, hoping they're not going to ask too much question. And then go back to my garage because I had to answer phone calls for maybe some auto sales. And at the same times, trying to build the fixtures in the back room. So really doing everything. And when you start doing everything, you get to know every aspect of your business.
Mm-hmm.
You get to know the client, you get to know the customer service, you get to know the sale, you get to know how to build it, what's the challenge that goes along the way the business. So that gave me a very solid knowledge on every angle of the business. And I think that was for me a good begin.
That's great. I have to say, in many of CHYE events where we have people come speak of just one of the greatest things that people say, it's this: work through the company, go through every position, be involved. It'll give you a perspective of your entire business. Then you can run a business because you understand the needs of every aspect of your business from the bottom to the top. That's great. So Baruch Hashem, you're hustling and things start picking up. So now you're back. You have a showroom now, and now you're already moved on to the next level.
Yeah, so it was not simple, but step by step, I start climb back again, getting somebody to help me, secretary, one guy, all from Carnites, doing cell, doing interior designs, doing 3D, and then the garage basement eventually got smaller to 6 people to be in. So we moved to an office in Brooklyn, and that office becomes a mini showroom, and that mini showroom extended to another workplace, and that space becomes smaller, so we extended to 2 more units, and that space becomes also smaller after 3 years, until we moved to another place in the same complex. It's called Industry City. It's a great area. We took
very up and coming Industry City. Sure.
So we took a larger space, 5,000 square feet, and we divide the space for showrooms / production and one big space. Baruch Hashem, we have a beautiful space, and I'm working with 11 people in our space right now here in New York, and I also have someone that worked for me from Israel. He's a quality control in Israel, and now I'm also producing parts and metal and component overseas. So I have another person that works for me from overseas to make sure all the shipping, everything comes in time, and quality will come in time. So now we have more challenge. We have different challenge.
Right. Well, that's the next question I want to ask you. I mean, it's well known when you're an entrepreneur and you start a business at the very beginning, and it's just you and one other person, it's one type of business. But when Baruch Hashem, you start to grow and it becomes an operation, and you have employees and it's management, it becomes a different type of business. And some people don't enjoy that shift, from being so hands-on to becoming management. How do you feel about that?
So this is the challenge when you start to work with people. Up until you work with yourself, you the challenge, and if you overcome yourself, you overcome the challenge. But when you work with people, that's when different challenge come. Even if you join to work with people, there's still people have a different mind and different way. So I will say that the biggest challenge is to work with people, and to run the company to a bigger scale and to move yourself from one area of your business to another area of your business and grow your business, whether it's 30% or 40%, and sometimes bigger or sometimes smaller a little bit. that's what you need to have, better tools to do that. So for me, I will say, the way how I see it, you need support. You have to recognize that there's support that you need to take, and there's a support out there. So I believe in coaching. So I'm using coaching to do that. I'm using a business coach. I'm using a group of people that I go there. I'm spending every month one full day and a month.
What's the name of the program?
It's called Vistage.
Vistage, okay,
Yeah.
right. Famous,
So,
very famous program.
Yeah, so I'm part of a Vistage group, and I have a private coach that come to me.
As part of Vistage or separately?
Yeah, it's part of Vistage.
Right.
Part of the Vistage, you get a coach that come to your business
Right.
for 90 minutes every month,
Mm.
and you talk to them about all your challenge, and it's basically coaching you as the CEO how to grow your business, and then you sit with companies, whether it's your size and revenue, or whether it's bigger than your size of revenue. You have to have the right fit for the group, and you sit with 15 people, full days, and you just go over your challenge. They bring speakers to the group, and you process issues, and then you get to hear other people challenge, and you get to know question to ask, you get to know advice to give, and they really teach you a lot of tools that even if you learn business in school, you're still gonna face in business. And it's interesting to see so many comments, issues, and topic that people have in business that even lawyers, doctors, a different business that's selling food, merchandise, Amazon, different thing, they have a very similar challenge.
Right.
And how you move your business and how you grow your business. So that's one important thing. And I also have a personal coach, someone here from Crown Heights, that also coached me, and very close to him, and that's helped me a lot. So I do believe, getting help and having coach and having the right coach with you, that can help a lot.
That's great. I mean, Kol Malamdei Eskalti, it's an unbelievable thing. You know, a lot of people, they feel like they have to be the ones to do everything, and they have to figure everything out, and they're not ready to be vulnerable. And that's fantastic. It's unbelievable. Like, you know, Kol Hakavod to you that, you know, you're coming here from Eretz Yisrael, just like, you know, hustling and building up this amazing company. Let me ask you like this. Is there any story of Kiddush Hashem in all the years of you running your business now? Is there a particular incident that might have happened that you're proud of that as a result of your business?
So all the time, I really back fan believe that when you do your business, there's the biggest opportunity for you to do a miftzayim, to do a shlichus. Anywhere you go, even if you travel, definitely there's always opportunity to do that. Living in New York and being in the design world and architect places, I do shows, and I know that I remember 2 years ago I did like a big show. It's called ICFF. It's once a year. People investing a lot of money. It's an expensive show to be, and if you really want to show your product and you want to show your company, you have to put a lot of money to your booth, to your place to look at. You're building your booth. The booth, it's either you come on Thursday or either you come on Friday, and the show starting on Shabbos, and then it goes Sunday, Monday, and half of Tuesday. And obviously, a lot of the day, the biggest day is happening on Shabbos.
Right.
So I'm always pushed to make sure that at least I can be there on Thursday, so I can have time to build it, because you have to build a mini showroom into the place in the Javits Center. So 2 years ago, I really push even more to build a bigger booth, and I'm done that for over a couple of years. And I have a minhag that every time when I finish the booth, I usually finish it on Friday, maybe an hour and a half before Shabbos. I'm done with building the booth, and that's giving me the time to come back to Crown Heights. And what I usually do when I build the booth, this booth was a really beautiful booth. I print a beautiful signs that said that we're observing Shabbat, and therefore our booth is going to be closed, and we'll be attempting again on Sunday. I put like a beautiful table. It's part of the design. It was not just I designed it, that the whole chandelier, every fixture is there, but the main thing on the floor and with a beautiful table was candle lights, 2 candle lights. I put two de mochala, and I put like a kiddush cup, and I put all the beautiful sign around the booth, and I put a big bowl that they had some flyers and had some empty glass bowl, and I got back on Sunday. I have to tell you that first of all the people that was next to me, next to the booth, they said, we are shocked. Saturday is the biggest day for us. There was not that many people coming to us, but guess what? So many people went to your booth. And I'm coming on Sunday, I'm seeing, first of all, my booth is full of business cards. Contact us, call us, good Shabbos, different thing and different comments. And I saw afterward also on social media that people took pictures of the booth, and they took pictures of what's the booth look like, because it's a center booth in the at the show, and that booth doesn't have anyone, just like sign that we're actually observing Shabbat and we close. And then I met a guy afterward that came to the booth. It was, a Jewish guy, and we spoke, and he was like so inspired. I was like, yeah, that's what we do. And right away I offer him to put filling. He's like, of course. Seeing what you did, I would love to do that. So, yeah.
Wow.
You're seeing Ashgacha Pratit everywhere you go. If you really, you talk to people, you get to know different people, a lot of Jewish people in the business, and try to do miftaim, do it fill-in. I have a guy across from us. He's a very big company. They open a big complex. Now we're talking about putting mezuzahs in his places. So it's definitely, you can have a lot of opportunity to do that. So
that's amazing. That's great. Let me ask you on the flip side. This has nothing to do with business per se and Kiddush Hashem, but you as a company that has products from Eretz Yisrael, how do you find in today's climate? What's your experience with that?
So directly, I didn't find anything different because we're producing the majority of the glass from Israel. The opposite, we get a lot of people that love that the glass from Israel. Definitely, when they're Jewish, I did few jobs in Saudi Arabia. Right now, we're still involved. We got inquiry for making the Kuwait airport, one of the terminals that they're renovating now. And I'm not so sure, and the company is in Istanbul, and I'm not so sure, they talk to me and they kind of like, oh, Joseph, your name is Joseph, Yusuf? So I said, no, my name is Yosef, from Israel. And then I'm like always waiting to see if there's any awkward moment will happen, but no, we're still talking. And when you go to the website, you see where is my artist coming from. So I didn't really see it directly that wasn't did anything. Yeah.
Baruch Hashem. So I guess a final. We'll sign off with this. This has really been a wonderful conversation, and I'm enjoying this tremendously. Imagine you're talking now to a group of young entrepreneurs that are getting started, which is our audience of young guys that are thinking of getting started or actually started something. What would be your number one advice? What's that one thing you'd want to share with them that they should walk away with from listening to this conversation?
You have to have the passion of what you're doing. That's number one. You have to really believe in what you do. And if you have the love, you have the passion, and you believe in what you do, don't give up. There's a lot of there's a lot of time that you will say to yourself, well, I try, I did. And the truth is, there is a moment that you have to say, this is enough. I try, I have to admit I can't really do it. But if you really believe in what you do, and you have the faith, and you do all the keli that you can do, you believe and Ashgacha Pratit, and you believe on what you're actually running after, you will get it. You will do it. You will be success. You will be able to grow yourself tremendously, and you should never forget where you started, what was your challenge, and always learn from the challenge. The challenge is actually something that you can always look back and you said, that was very hard, but what I learned from it. Make yourself a list of any challenge that came to you. How do you move on from that? How do you go up from that challenge? And doing all those tools and really continue to push yourself and getting the right support to doing it. And one thing I will say, never give up on tzedakah, even in the hardest time, because when you continue to do tzedakah, if you didn't do that much, push more. And when you have the hardest time, that's when you really need to push more tzedakah. Then there's a really test that you can really test it.
All the shluchim, they need you as the spokesman. You know?
You can really see that when you really push it, and the time that is the hardest one, that's when you're really seeing the amazing thing. So have emunah, have bitachon, have belief, have all the faith together, and Hashem be you matzliach.
Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. I really enjoyed your story and the wonderful journey you went through. I mean, I have to say, that statement you said about passion is obviously your story, and I find it unique because I've sat with a lot of entrepreneurs, and obviously passion is something that plays a strong part in it. You can't, if you need that passion to have the drive to run. If you don't have that passion, it just doesn't go. But I'm just wondering if you could put a finger on it. For you, like, it's almost like this magical thing, like you fell in love with something and you never saw before, and you just ran with it. It's like a unique type of a passion that just like it's almost magical from listening to your story. Do you have any explanation for it? How, like it's almost like you just fell in love with something and you just started pushing and pushing and you turned it into this tremendous thing. What do you think? Where do you think that came from?
I don't really know where it came from, but it's definitely something that I fell in love with the product. I fell in love with what I'm selling, and what's happening, it's like in anything else, you have to work for it. You have to constantly developing it, because eventually it will die if you're not gonna continue to play with this. Being with what I started, I had to develop more, and I think what I really like to do a lot is to communicating with people. So for me to start it with one person and then get to know other people, get to know other artists, get to know other material, and developing it. You have to constantly work with what you maybe started, but if you're not gonna you're not gonna invest with that, that's eventually might disappear too. So I constantly work with people, work with other product, work with other material, and I constantly go with this product, material, idea, and it's anything. Passion, it's like you have to think it. It's first you have to really like it, but then you have to developing it. You have to work for it. You have to create a lot of tools to be able to diverse it, and then you work with people. Whether you work with 2 people, whether you work with 20 people, there's still challenge. But if you're enjoying to work with people, you're gonna continue to grow yourself. And so if you work with any product or any idea that you have, and the beginning was excited, you have to constantly nurturing it, and you have to diversing it. You have to diverse for something else, because if not, it's just gonna it's gonna start dying. Right. So you have to always keep in mind to refresh yourself and get inspired. Always go to try to get inspired. I go to places, to different country, and just trying to develop my creativity and get inspired by different idea, which is very, very important. Right. Because then you bring the passion again and you refresh yourself.
That's great. It's been a wonderful conversation, and I'm sure the people listening to this are enjoying this tremendously. If somebody is touched by you and they want to, maybe they have a question and they want to reach out to you, how would they find you?
Here in Crown Heights.
I'm saying, so if they want to reach out to you, you have a LinkedIn profile?
I have a LinkedIn. It's Yosef Sidof, Joseph, last name Sidof, Sidof, and my company called Shakuff, Shakuff. And the website, it's .com.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Wish you tremendous continued hatzlacha. Shakuff. Should only go higher and higher, and tremendous story.
Amen. Thank you for having me. We should always hear good news, and thank you.
For everyone that's listening, have a wonderful week. Mechael El Chayil. Thank you for listening to the CHYE in partnership with COL Live K-Factor podcast with your host, Rabbi Yehoshua Wordy. We look forward to bringing you more amazing entrepreneurs to share their stories. See you next week.